Okay, this is a video response to Jess's question about how we felt about the Eclipse movie. And I'm so glad she brought this topic up because I actually wanted to be able to discuss the movie with fellow fans. And I don't really have a lot of people in my immediate company that actually are fans of the movie and have read the book. So, my personal take on Eclipse is that it ran slow the first 2/3 of the movie to me, and I really thought that I really got the point that they were trying to kind of mimic the book in a sense because they wanted to give you some insight into the other characters in the book, like Jasper and Rosalie, and kind of let us get to know those characters. But it seems to me that, if I'm not mistaken, they were trying to take the direction of this film and set the same type of tempo that was in the original Twilight. Now, if you're familiar with the series and you follow it closely, you know that they actually changed directors between Twilight and New Moon because they didn't feel like she was, I guess, popping the movie out quick enough for the general demand of the public. So you notice that there was a tempo change and there were a lot of corrections and there a lot of different improvements in the second movie. And so New Moon was, really good. But when you get into Eclipse, it seemed to me, I could be wrong, but it seemed to me that they were trying to capture the same tempo of Twilight, which was kind of slow, but it kept you interested enough to keep watching and being intrigued by this relationship that was developing between Edward and Bella. Well, when we get into the third chapter, or third series, Eclipse, I feel like we begin to see more of Jacob's character and how he was as a person and kind of go through his whole turmoil. But I feel like it just really ran slow between the first 2/3. Then when you got down to that last third where we really see the plot thickening and we see them trying to protect Bella from Victoria and trying to protect their identities. The Cullens trying to protect their identities as vampires, and then we get into seeing the rest of the wolf pack and whatnot. It got a little bit more interesting. However, I kind of wish they would have kind of got a little bit more into characters like Leah, who is the only female member of the wolf pack. I really would have wished they would have kind of stepped it up a bit and shown us a little bit more into her whole agony about, Sam imprinting with the other chick. I can't remember her name. Imprinting with her, and not with Leah, and kind of got into her mind. And because I've read the books and I'm actually reading Breaking Dawn now. Sometimes I get things a little confused about it, so I can't remember if they gave us more detail in Breaking Dawn than they did in Eclipse. But I kind of wish they would have given us a little bit more detail. Also, I have to just talk about the characters as far as, like, everybody's team Jacob and everybody's team Edward and whatnot. Why ain't nobody team Emmett? That's what I want to know, because if you really get down to it, Keelan Lutz, however you say his name, to me, if you really look at it, even though we hype up Edward and we hype up Jacob, really, he's the hottest vampire in the movie. Let's just be honest. Now, come on, work with me. And Jasper. I really like how they did him, the whole Texas drawl in his voice, and I can't remember if that was the way he talked. In fact, I know it wasn't because I watched those movies a lot on repeat. They didn't give him that Texas drawl that they try to kind of give him in this movie. I like how they told his backstory, but what is going on with dude's hair? Like, really, every movie it gets worse. Now, I could deal with his hair in the first movie, Twilight. That was becoming of him. But the hairstyle that they had old boy rocking this time, I was so against it. I was like, time out. Can we get the stylist on set and fix old boy up? Because it's not cute. It just doesn't. His hair was a hot mess. It was raggedy. I just hated it. And that's just my spiel on that. I was just like having qualms about that the entire movie. And then I really like how they changed up with each segment. They improved the color of the vampire's skin. I really like how they improved on that this time. So that was good to me. And I'm trying to think of everything that kind of interested me about the movie. Of course, I feel like they kind of left out details, which was to be expected because you can't expect them to be able to capture in the 90 minutes what a book that was like 400 or 500 pages or somewhere between 300 to 400 pages. So I can't expect them to be able to capture all that. As I said, my overall feeling is that this was not the best movie in the Twilight series. It wasn't horrible, and when it comes out, I'll still want to purchase it and add it to my collection. I just don't feel like it was the best movie. And those of you who have actually read the series and are a little bit more familiar, because it's been about almost a year since I've read Eclipse. But correct me if I'm wrong now. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but didn't Bella and Edward get married at the end of Eclipse? I can't remember, but that's what I think. I could be wrong, though. And another thing that was really interesting, I really love how Stephanie Meyer was true to the abstinence thing. To me, the sexiest part of the movie was when Bella was kind of throwing herself at Edward, but he told her that he was old-fashioned and there was one thing he wanted to be by the books and for her to stop trying to take her clothes off. I really love the message that this sends to young girls and young men because I think that there is something to be said about stories that maintain that type of purity because think about it, we've got all the rule breaking here. We got werewolves and then we got vampires and humans falling in love with vampires and all that stuff. And then we have the whole purity thing, which is such a heavy note in the movie, whether people realize it. Because if you think about it, this is a love story, and in today's time and society, we equate love and sex, and really the two don't have anything to do with each other. And the fact that these characters are so deeply in love and they would die for each other, but they haven't even partaken in that fleshly pleasure, that's priceless. Excuse me. But I will buy it when it comes out, I will say, but I will have to say that Breaking Dawn better top this 2 times over because this was not, in my opinion, the best movie in the series. Well, that's all I have to say. If anybody else would like to join in on the friendly banter and conversate about it, this is such a good topic. And Jess, thank you so much for coming up with it because I'm a big fan of the series. I'm actually at 29. I hate to say it, but I'm actually kind of obsessed with it. So it's kind of sad, but oh well. Everybody has their vices. So anybody else have anything to say? Come on and chime in and let's make this a really good, friendly, commenting session. Bye-bye.